There are windmills all over Europe. There are windmills all over the place. And they are losers. One thing I've noticed is that the more windmills a country has, the more money that country loses and the worse that country is doing. China makes almost all of the windmills, and yet I haven't been able to find any wind farms in China. Did you ever think of that? It's a good way of looking at it. You're smart. China's very smart. They make them, they sell them for a fortune. They sell them to the stupid people that buy them, but they don't use them themselves.
President Trump on the Chinese making windmills so that communists around the world can buy them. And of course, the Chinese don't use windmills. They're not stupid. They use coal-burning plants, and they're building a new one every week, I think, a new coal-burning plant every week. They, 11. And are we looking forward to the snow? I'm looking forward to the snowstorm. Crazy, man. 10 inches of snow. Bum, 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 bum. President Trump. Yeah, the Chinese, they're not stupid. They sell windmills to stupid people, but they don't use them themselves. Come on. They're Chinese. Don't you know? And it is now hour number 3 on our humble radio broadcast. President Trump in Davos. I read a story this morning from the British Broadcasting Corporation, BBC, by one Faisal Islam. Faisal Islam, their economics editor at the BBC, Faisal Islam is. And his headline, Faisal Islam, : he loves his colon too. What it was like inside the room with Donald Trump at Davos. And here comes Faisal Islam. Now listen to this because it may fly in the face of other things that Democrats will talk about. Faisal Islam says, I was in the room when President Donald Trump entered, and it's fair to say he got a good welcome from the crowd. Certainly at the beginning, a standing ovation. On top of that, there was an astonishing scrum to get in, with many turned away, even heads of state. The security was unbelievable, not letting even some of the most famous attendees in or out of the hall. Minutes into the speech, Trump was keeping his cool, even dropping in phrases about wanting the UK to do great. He wants the UK to do great. Of course we do. They're English people, but most of them are named Mohammed now. What some thought would be the day on which the U.S. president laid down the laws and his new global economy was filled with more grandfatherly advice. Listen to this. Faisal Islam, he said, well, you got a very warm reception, a standing ovation. Everybody was happy. And he's talking about economics and saying nice things about the United Kingdom. And there it is. It was far from the mildly menacing tone of his social media posts claiming that Greenland will be America's. It'll be America's, but it will be. We just won't care about it much once we've got it in our clutches, in our grasp. But which one is the real Donald Trump? Well, they're both the real Donald Trump. He got everything he wanted, or he's getting everything that he wanted, very much in the process of getting everything he wanted. Has he heard how badly some of his rhetoric has gone down? Yeah, he's heard about it. He really doesn't care. As I entered, I was told an astonishing event last night where Trump's Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, told the audience that in terms of Europe's economy, quote, you're dead, end quote. There was a walkout. Might there have been one today? He seemed to be trying to avoid that. So he goes out about how President Trump was warmly received and a standing ovation and all that good stuff. And now let's go to President Trump. That's in Davos, where he's giving him a hard time because they deserve to get a hard time. And they have idiots like the governor of California and Al Gore, peace be upon him, Albert Gore. And how much did he make from the Arabs when he sold his cable television station? Was that $300 million? Is that how much he made? The Democrats, the scamsters, the scam is so gigantic that no one would dare to not believe it. Let's go to President Trump talking to Maria Bartiromo did an interview in Davos with Maria Bartiromo, Fox Business Channel in particular, and the Fox News Channel as well. And he's talking about Greenland and using Greenland as a base for missile defense, a la Ronald Reagan and Strategic Defense Initiative, the SDI, which the Democrats cynically and snidely called Star Wars, because there was a cool movie called Star Wars at the time. And President Reagan was so far ahead of his time. And the Iron Dome in Israel, we have our Patriot missiles, missile defense systems that are, somewhat effective and not entirely hermetically effective. But the Israelis improved on our missile defense capabilities in some respects, and they have their Iron Dome to protect them because the jihadis are constantly raining death down upon them because they're genocidal Jew haters and all that stuff. But President Trump talking to Maria Bartiromo and using Greenland for bases, what he's calling the Golden Dome, because he likes things that are gold, and Iron Dome in Israel, Golden Dome for us because we want it to be shiny and gold and nice and all that good stuff. President Trump and Maria Bartiromo.
We will have everything we want. We're getting everything we want at no cost.
So the Golden Dome will be on Greenland?
A piece of it, yes, and it's a very important part because everything comes over Greenland. If the bad guys start shooting, it comes over Greenland. So we knock it down. It's pretty infallible. It's amazing. Ronald Reagan had the idea a long time ago, but we didn't have any technology at that point. The concept was great, but there was no technology. Now we have unbelievable technology.
We do. And in fact, there's Audis, he's talking about using these acoustic weapons in Venezuela. And I'm not even going to share that with you because it's not helpful. These are very, very secretive programs and secret weapons system. But we're talking about building a missile defense system, which Ronald Reagan envisioned in the early 1980s, and now coming to fruition. Ronald Reagan, a genius ahead of his time. They, of course, painted him as an idiot on Saturday Night Live and beyond. And he was centuries ahead of the dim-witted Democrats who are kind of in bed with the communist Chinese and all that stuff. Maria Bartiromo on Greenland and Golden Dome and missile defense. And actually, if you look at the map, the way they have the missiles coming out of Russia over the Arctic and across Greenland, those are all headed toward the East Coast, Washington and New York, which would be key. But if you look at the map, California is wide open to the Russians, and we'll just keep it that way. It's better. Maria Bartiromo.
So what are we talking about? An acquisition of Greenland? Are you going to pay for it? I mean,
we're talking about it. It's really being negotiated now, the details of it, but essentially it's total access. It's there's no end. There's no time limit.
There's no end. There's no time limit. An agreement with the Danish and on Greenland. And I did see a political leader in Greenland being interviewed yesterday, and he said really what Greenland wants is nationhood. They want to be independent from the Danish people. And he said, we want our own seat at the United Nations. That's what he said. We want our own seat at the United Nations for Greenland. And honestly, this is about keeping China out of there and keeping Russia out of there and securing North America. Hey, Canada, you're welcome again. Welcome again. I think I said last night on the Newsmax TV show on the Right Squad, I said, Canada should be grateful. First, we bought Alaska and gave them a buffer from Russia, and then we're the United States of America, and we protect Canada like they're in our backyard, like they're our largest national park. And I said, were it not for the United States of America, Canada would, of course, be the largest wheat field in the Soviet Empire. And you're welcome. You're welcome, Canada. It's okay. Honestly, the United States didn't exist. The communists would have taken over the world in the 20th century. But you're welcome. You're welcome. And now here's Byron York. Byron York, journalist, Washington guy, talking to Brett Baer on the Fox News channel last night, talking about President Trump and Greenland.
I have to say, this was kind of classic Trump, wasn't it? I mean, Trump wants something, and then he asks for 10 times that. And the other side flips out, and they go back and forth and go back and forth. It becomes a huge news story. Finally, they make an offer. He agrees to it, And it's kind of what they could have gotten in the first place.
And says they're wonderful people and happy to work with them. And suddenly it's this dismount that we could predict by how it's set up at the beginning.
Yes,
I think.
And the other side's happy because they think they dodged a bullet. So it's just classic Trump.
Yeah.
The negotiator-in-chief, the art of the deal. And it's absolutely true. And I've got to say, Byron York nailed it, and I didn't want to just say the same thing when Byron York had this very cogent thought. And the truth is, I mean, my best girl and I were talking about, my friend Marty and I were talking about this the other day, and it's like, the Europeans still just don't get it. They haven't cracked the code on Trump. We've all cracked the code on Trump. We laugh out loud when we see him saying these things. It's like, oh, there we go. It's the art of the deal. He's negotiating. And as Byron York said, he asked for whatever 10 times what he actually wants. And then everybody freaks out. And then Trump calms everything down. And then he gets exactly what he had set out for in the first place. And they think that, as he said, they think they dodged a bullet. They think they negotiated something good. They can go back to their people and say, well, I got a better deal than was started, but Trump has played them again, and they didn't catch it. Pretty amazing stuff. Now, Democrats, they're all mental. They're all mental. There's something wrong with all of their brains. And they've got a TV show. ABC News runs a TV show called The View. The View. And they don't look out over anything, but The View. And they got, the ironically named Whoopi, and they've got Joy and Sonny, and they're completely ridiculous. And they're on that ridiculous show last night. And they're very upset yesterday about Greenland. They want to protect European colonialism in the Americas. And the colonial powers need to hold on to their giant land holdings here, according to Whoopi Goldberg and the gang.
I think you haven't been watching
Iceland with Greenland.
You
think he confused? You're not sure?
I'm not sure.
I didn't know if he moved on to another piece.
Amendment.
Right, it's time.
25th Amendment is time. It's time. It's time.
Woo!
To that point, Whoopi, you would be in a lot of company. You believe at this point that the President of the United States may not have his full faculties?
I felt that before now.
He called Greenland Iceland yesterday, and he did. And everybody does that whenever you're talking about Greenland and Iceland. I think I made the same mistake yesterday myself and called Greenland Iceland. I've been to Iceland a couple of times and spent a certain amount of time in Iceland. I've not been to Greenland, but I'd like to go. So it's time for the 25th Amendment, not for Joe Biden, who confused everything every single day, but here he's it's like not since the Louisiana Purchase, but never mind that. And The View, they have this woman, Elisa Farrar Griffin.
He is sitting in a position that is uncomfortable to me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm uncomfortable with him as president.
She's sitting on her gonads.
Remember, the 25th Amendment requires the cabinet around him to act.
But we're talking to them.
Well, I know, but I'm just as a dose of reality, his cabinet is squarely with him.
Yes.
Though I do think...
And it's time for them to go, too.
Oh, there you go. The lynch mob, the Democrat Party, the Confederate States of America. It's time for them to go, too. Listen to what communists they are, what maroons they are. You guys better get a whole bunch of fighter jets and tanks and stuff. So he's got to go, 25th Amendment, but not Joe Biden. Every single day he made gaffes bigger than that. And then, well, the cabinet's got to go, too. That low IQ theater, these are the dumbest people in the world. The cabinet is in more danger than any cabinet in modern times. Just amazing stuff. Yeah, the cabinet's got to go, too, because that's who they are. The Democrats have a member of the House of Representatives named Jason Crow. He was on MS-13 with the failed everything, Nicole Wallace. And here we go. It's a removal, 25th Amendment again.
This president is a danger to this country and this democracy. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at all options. All of our options must be on the table, from impeachment to the 25th Amendment.
Impeachment to the 25th Amendment. That's where we are. It's time to. They're going to bring back slavery. Oh, speaking of bringing back slavery, we've got James Clyburn for you today too. And these are the dumbest people. I don't know how the Democrats, they unionized stupid. And James Clyburn is in there. He might be less intelligent than Whoopi Goldberg. He's one of the top Democrats in the House of Representatives. Amazing stuff. The 25th Amendment and impeachment and lynch mob. And, yeah, he said Iceland when he meant Greenland. He needs to be removed. But Joe Biden, who crashed into everything that he tried to walk by. Amazing stuff. Yes, sir. And there is more Democrat Party mental illness for our enjoyment coming up. Yeah, I've got this great CNN moment yesterday with John Berman, and they're accusing President Trump of terrible things. In the meantime, I've learned that John Berman, the CNN anchor, is part of an international child sex trafficking ring. Child sex trafficking ring. We've got that. But right now, let's go. Hey, wait a minute. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Mike the Lib. Mike the Lib is on the phone. Mike the Lib from Gainesville, Virginia. You're on the Chris Plant Show.
Yes, Chris. Yes, I know. You're Trump basically creates an international crisis to get the same deal he already had. We already had total access to Greenland because it's a NATO territory. So we didn't need to do anything. All you wanted to do was buy Greenland so you could rename it Trump land.
Now, you just made all of that up, didn't you?
No, of course that's what Greenland was named for the original real estate scam by Eric the Red. That's why he called it Greenland, so you get people to settle there. And of course, Trump could confuse Iceland and Greenland multiple times. He couldn't even keep them straight.
Which, happens quite constantly, quite frequently. People, they both end with land. They're both in the same geographic region, and you do recall. They're
two totally different entities.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. I've spent time in
Iceland.
They're
two different entities.
Mike, I understand that, Mike the Lib. That's not being debated. It's a bit of a slip. But you do recall the presidency of Joseph Robinette Biden, don't you?
Yeah. Yes.
And you know that every single day he had gaffes. It was a gaffe.
Dangerous.
Yeah, he's dangerous. Yeah, not Joe Biden.
Dangerous. Yes, you create crises.
Not Joe Biden.
And try to solve them.
And Kamala Harris as president. That'd be great. That'd be the end of humankind. Global thermonuclear war.
No, that would have been sanity.
Sanity. Yeah, right. She can't spell sanity. She doesn't know what the word means.
Chris,
you don't know what the word means.
His missile defense idea is crazy.
It's crazy missile defense. We should remain vulnerable to intercontinental ballistic missiles.
Please listen.
You never listen to anything. You never listen to a complete sentence.
Please listen to this, Chris. Please listen.
I'm hearing silence. I don't know what the hell. I got to tell you, Mike the Lib, you don't make a good case for anything. I've got to tell you, that's Mike the Lib. He's a perfectly ordinary lib. Just like all the libs. Yeah, missile defense. What a crazy idea. Right.
If we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death.
And speaking of very severely mentally impaired politicians, Democrat Congressman James Clyburn was on Panhandler broadcasting last night, suckling on the taxpayer teat. And what he said last night, he should be institutionalized today. He should be locked up somewhere because of his mental problems. Let's go back to the phone. Somebody wants to talk about Mike the Lib. Let's go to Jimmy calling from New York. Jimmy, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah,
love
man.
the show as always. How you doing? Thank you for taking my call, and love the show. And you're my second cup of coffee. Put it that way. You keep me going all morning.
Thank you.
But Mike the Lib's a moron. I mean, they taught us that nonsense when I was in grammar school, that it was a misnomer, Greenland, Iceland. The medieval warming period Greenland was occupied by the Vikings for hundreds of years. They had pastures, they fished, they had a settlement there. They died off, but they don't teach that stuff. And it's just Mike the Lib's a moron. That's it.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's it's a good punctuation mark, a point of clarification. I've got to say, yeah. And Trump said Iceland, when he met Greenland, which goes on all day, every day around Iceland, around Greenland. When people are talking about traveling there, when it's a norm. It has been, as you point out, since grammar school. And yeah, you're right. In the Vikings, the medieval warming period, and good stuff. I got to say, Jimmy, Mike the Lib was a career U.S. intelligence officer. Just by the way.
Yeah, it's shocking to who they can hire, who gets hired by the federal government.
And the Democrat Party is just, and again, we played the Al Gore, we played the Joe Biden soundbite going out that he said during a presidential debate. What did he say? What did he say? Yeah, we beat Medicaid. That's, and Jake Tapper was the fake journalist there. And he's like, all right, we beat Medicaid. Yay. Let's all applaud Joe Biden saying we beat Medicaid. And President Trump mocked him and made fun of him. And there was more stuff like that in that debate and other moments. I mean, Joe Biden's entire presidency was one ongoing gaffe. I mean, he fell down more flights of stairs than any politician in history.
And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we can do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
I really don't think he knows what he said. And I don't know what he said. I don't think he knows what he said either. And that was normal. And for Mike the Lib and Jake Tapper, very little daylight between the two of them. And Jake Tapper, that you just applaud Joe Biden for stringing some random words together, even if they're completely incoherent.
Well, he was a Mr. Magoo president. Everybody seems to forget that.
Yeah, well, you and I didn't forget that. Isn't that amazing? Just extraordinary. Jimmy, thank you. Yeah, great. And you're not alone. You speak for hundreds of millions of people. Let me just say that.
Well, Chris, keep up the good work. Love the show.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Jimmy. That's great. All right, now let's get to the next dim-witted Democrat, and they are many. They are certainly many. Just extraordinary people. Man, oh, man. Oh, well, actually, let's go to the lunatic. Let's go to J.B. Pritzker. He inherited billions of dollars from his grandfather and his father, literally billions of dollars. And then he bought the governor's mansion in Illinois, and he may end up in a penitentiary, as so many Illinois governors do. But he was on yesterday with the always reliably dim-witted Jen Psaki, who was, of course, a Democrat Party spokesperson. I can't vouch for her genitalia one way or the other, but a spokesperson, Jen Psaki. And then she was given $1 million job in a TV show by NBC Fake News, because they're not in the news business. They're not in the journalism business. But here is J.B. Pritzker on MS-13 with Jen Psaki.
What he wants is ultimately to control American cities, because he wants to affect the elections in 2026, because he knows he's going to lose if he doesn't do that. And deploying troops, and I mean including CBP and ICE, deploying people who are wearing uniforms and carrying automatic weapons, this is going to intimidate people who want to go vote.
Illegal alien gang members from Venezuela who want to go vote for Democrats. And wait a minute, he wants to control the cities. And that's our job. We're the Democrat Party. We control all the cities. We control New York and Washington and Boston and Philadelphia and Chicago and Minneapolis and Los Angeles and San Francisco and on the list goes. And it's where all the murder is. It's where all the crime is. It's where all the drug deaths are. And I'm sorry, he wants to, and troops, he calls ICE troops, that's federal law enforcement, and CBP, Customs and Border Protection, and Trump wants to control the cities, because that's how he's going to stop elections, by using ICE to keep people from voting. And I mean, your brain is now he's the size of one of Venus's moons, and this boy he's dumber than even I thought. But and so what he wants to stop, because he's going to lose, and he said, boy, ICE got to use ICE and Customs and Border Protection to stop elections and keep people from voting, because they're going to intimidate people from voting. This is a third world mental illness. This is a dementia that the Democrat Party is suffering from. And J.B. Pritzker ought to be gassed, I think, maybe gassed. The James Clyburn. Now, do we want to do 8 or do we want to jump ahead to all right, we want to jump to 12 then. Is this part in the larger? Okay, all right, let's go to this then. Let's go to number 12. They've got a Democrat by the name of Margaret Hoover, who is paid by the American taxpayers at the Panhandler Broadcasting System to do the Democrat Party's bidding. And they had, as just kind of an amazing thing, PBS host Margaret Hoover is talking about the Democrats, and listen to the religious terminology that she uses. And we're talking about Democrat House member James Clyburn.
You say that the Redeemer Democrats are echoing the tactics of MAGA Republicans.
MAGA.
Absolutely.
What?
Tell me more about that.
Redeemer?
Redeemer. Just all the stuff that they did.
What?
A guy named Witherspoon Gary. He's general in the Confederate Army.
Completely unrepentant, believed that Robert E. Lee should not have surrendered.
A Democrat.
Absolutely.
A Democrat.
And he did everything he could. He, like a particular figure in the White House today, he overtook the entire mechanism. He wrote an edict giving instructions as to how they should conduct themselves. And one of the things he instructed them to do,
Democrat,
always wear a red shirt.
Yeah, sure. Always wear a red shirt. Witherspoon.
The red shirts.
Witherspoon.
Today,
Gary.
Red caps.
Right. Today, red caps.
He instructed them, rifle clubs, Ku Klux Klan, use violence. Proud Boys.
Proud Boys.
Today.
Proud Boys today. Right. Kind of a loose association. The president of the Confederate States of America was a Democrat named Jefferson Davis. The Robert E. Lees and the Gary Witherspoon, who nobody but a few Civil War scholars have ever heard of. Just an amazing thing. And he said, wear red. And now, what's the color of Trump's hat? Red. Therefore, the Confederate States of America, which were the Democrat States of America. And then he said, and the Klan, which was created by a statewide leader of the Democrat Party, named Forrest Gump. It's not really Forrest Gump, but Nathan Bedford Forrest, but Forrest Gump in the movie said that he was named for Nathan Bedford Forrest, and it was used by Hollywood as a laugh line because they liked the KKK then, and they had a funny KKK scene in Forrest Gump. But and Margaret Hoover is sitting there nodding like she's getting nuggets of wisdom, pearls of wisdom from this guy. You say Redeemer Democrats, whatever the hell those are, they burn churches or something, echoing the tactics of MAGA Republicans. And then back to the Civil War, where the Democrats were the Confederate States of America. Abraham Lincoln was the Republican president of the Union, and the Democrats shot him in the head and murdered him because they wanted to keep slavery so much. And then Democrat Nathan Bedford Forrest created the KKK, and of course Joe Biden worked in the Senate with Democrat Senator and KKK leader Robert Byrd, who actually created the KKK in West Virginia. Didn't exist before Democrat Senator and Joe Biden colleague Robert Byrd created the KKK in the West Virginia. And every single Jim Crow law was a Democrat Party law, just by the way. Every single, the Jim Crow, it's all Jim Crow. And here's reading now. Yes, Jim Crow laws, which enforced racial segregation and disenfranchisement, were enacted by white Southern Democrats after Reconstruction, following the withdrawal of federal troops, Republicans, and the return of Democrats to power in the South. These laws, including poll taxes, literacy tests, segregation mandates, systematically stripped African Americans of rights with support from the Democratic Party at the state and local levels through the party's They say, though the party's platforms have shifted significantly since then. Yeah, now they just kill 40% of the black population in the womb. And here is this Hoover woman and PBS Margaret Hoover, and, of course, Democrat James Clyburn.
So are you saying these tactics echo the past?
Absolutely.
Listen, absolutely. Teeing it up, just teeing it up. Absolutely. Now, wait a minute. And Margaret Hoover doesn't say, well, but wait a minute. Jefferson Davis, the Confederate president, was a Democrat. So the general that nobody's ever heard of, Reese Witherspoon's grandfather here, he was a Democrat, and the Jim Crow laws were all Democrat, and the KKK was founded by Democrats, and the Democrats were the party of slavery and the plantation. But Margaret Hoover doesn't say that. She just tees up stupid.
How far do you think the current MAGA Republican Party, because you say
MAGA.
Proud Boys, which are different from run-of-the-mill MAGA.
Absolutely.
How far do you think MAGA Republicans, and you even referenced Donald Trump as the leader of the MAGA Republicans.
Sure.
I mean, when you reference the echoes of history, how far do you think, or are you warning that they're willing to go?
All the way.
All the way. Sure, like Bill Clinton with the internship program. How all the way. No, wait, this is where it really gets good. Because, I mean, I think he doesn't know. I think he doesn't know that the Democrats were the Confederate States of America and that Abraham Lincoln was a Republican and the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing the slaves, and the Civil War to stop the Democrats from bullwhipping and raping. But listen to this, because the post-Civil War America, when the Democrats were regrouping to, get slavery back and assassinating Abraham Lincoln. And here it goes. And listen to this wanker, Hoover, who is just a clown. And here we go. And again, it is history backward. It's the sock of history pulled inside out. It's looking at the world through the wrong end of the telescope. James Clyburn.
What do you mean by all the way? Because you write at one point in the book, the MAGA Republicans and their supporters who want to make America great again want to be remaking it in the image of the antebellum era. I just want to be clear. Are you saying you think they want to reinstate slavery?
No. They wish to get us back as close to slavery as they can possibly get us to without violating, because the Constitution, they can't do it. Jim Crow? Yes.
So you think they would reinstitute Jim Crow?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Jim Crow. The Democrat laws, every one of them Democrats. The bullwhips, Democrats. The lynchings, Democrats. The plantations, Democrats. Slavery, Democrats. KKK, Democrats. Every single Jim Crow law, Democrat law. And Margaret Hoover sits there nodding like, oh, this is shocking. The Democrats want to bring back slavery, or something as close to slavery as they can get. The Republicans ended slavery. You people are the bullwhip party, and antebellum. I'm surprised you could get that word out. That's pretty amazing. Bring back slavery, as close to slavery as you can get. And they literally, the LBJ, the party of LBJ, and the Great Society, and no men in the household, and welfare state forever, generation after generation, the school to prison pipeline, every one of these things, Democrat. James Clyburn.
There are people who are supporters of this president who admit
Listen to
me
this.
That they are white supremacists. I've had people who support this president tell me that they thought that slavery was a good thing. And really, for us to deny
mental
that this exists, I don't know why we would do that.
You've had people tell you who support this president that they thought slavery was a good thing.
Absolutely. Right to my teeth.
Right to his
Constituents
teeth. What does that mean?
Absolutely. In my congressional district.
Right to his teeth. Right to his teeth. Well, what does that mean, right to my teeth? I've never heard that before. And that's, Trump's in his district walk up to him and say, oh, hi, Congressman, I'm a white supremacist and I support slavery. And he says, absolutely, right to my teeth, whatever the hell that means. He belongs in an institution. He should be taken away. Men in white coats should show up with a net and put him in a little yellow bus and take him away. So we had Fredo Cuomo, and we had lots of mental Don Lemon, James Clyburn, the governor of Illinois, Pritzker, and they are delusional. Each and every one of them is delusional, mentally ill, and Clyburn says that they're Proud Boys, like the Proud Boys have ever done anything. Oh, January 6th. You guys rioted at the White House for 3 days. It was worse than January 6th at the Capitol. You rioted in 550 different riots and who knows how many cities and states across America, burning and looting, literally billions in damage, literally thousands of police injured. And I got to tell you, these people, they are really unwell. America is not where it's supposed to be. And Gavin Newsom at Davos heckling, and Al Gore at Davos heckling the Commerce Secretary. It was Gavin Newsom heckling the Treasury Secretary, which is homophobia, and he's a homophobe, and he should be held to account for all of that. Just amazing. The Democrat Party, Don Lemon, Fredo Cuomo. Oh, we haven't done the John Berman thing because they had once again the only sensible person on the network, and this little idiot sitting next to the only sensible person. They said, well, President Trump is part of a global sex trafficking ring. And then John Berman, as the anchorman, the journalist, the adult at the table, says, oh, that's interesting. And he moves on. And then Philip says, well, wait a minute, you're going to let that go? And then John Berman does a fake fact check. It's not I'll do the fact checking here. And then he tells the little creep to repeat his slanderous accusation.
Appreciative that the president is being transparent about this. I would love it if he was more transparent about the human sex trafficking network that he was a part of, but you can't win them all.
Cameron's grateful that the president is being transparent about the Nobel Peace Prize.
He just moves on.
Scott, what do you think?
John Berman.
You going to let that sit? Are we going to claim here on CNN that the president is part of a global sex trafficking ring, or?
Well,
I mean,
we're going to talk about the Epstein file. Scott, I will do the fact checking as we go along here.
Watch this.
Repeat what you said about the global sex trafficking ring.
Repeat it.
That Donald Trump was provably very involved with it.
Okay, we'll get to that later. I mean, Donald Trump has never been charged with any crimes in relation to Jeffrey Epstein. But
let's be adults here.
We'll talk about that.
Let's be serious.
Satisfied?
Satisfied? No. You're fired. You're so fired. If I were the CEO, you'd have been fired. Well, you've been fired long ago. But President Trump is obviously part of a global sex trafficking ring. And the CNN anchor sits there nodding. Yeah, and we're going to talk about other bad things, too. And then he jumps in, the only sensible person jumps in and says, you're going to let that stand? He says, I'll do the fact-checking here. And he says, repeat that scurrilous slander again? CNN.